What if I told you that a single geometric idea could potentially solve the biggest mysteries in cosmology, biology, and even neuroscience? Well, that is the absolutely massive claim of a paper called The Geometric Engine of Origin, and we're going to dive into its mind-bending proposal right now.
You know, science is in a pretty weird spot right now. We have more data than ever before, but our most fundamental models of the universe seem to be breaking down. Let's just quickly touch on 3 of the biggest paradoxes that are driving scientists crazy.
First up, the big one, cosmology. Our best theories say that everything we see, every star, every planet, every galaxy, is only about 5% of what's actually out there. The other 95%, they call it dark matter and dark energy. The problem is, after decades of searching, we found literally no direct evidence of it. So, where is everything?
Then you've got biology. How did we get from primordial soup to the insane complexity of life on Earth? The textbook answer is, random mutations and natural selection. But if you actually do the math, the odds of that happening by pure chance in the time we've had are, well, they're not great. It feels like we're missing something.
And this one? This one's a real mind bender from neuroscience. Brain scan studies have found that researchers can see your decision forming in your brain activity up to 10 seconds before you have any conscious clue that you've even made a choice. This completely flips our idea of free will upside down. I mean, how can your brain know what you're going to do before you do? So you've got these 3 massive, seemingly unrelated crises in 3 different fields of science. But what if, and this is the big question, what if they're not separate problems at all? What if they're all just symptoms of one single, gigantic misunderstanding of reality itself?
And that leads us to a pretty radical new idea. It's a framework that suggests we need to throw out some of our most basic assumptions about space, time, and what our universe actually is.
So, here it is, the central idea in a nutshell. The theory proposes that the 3-dimensional universe we all live in, it's not the whole story. It's just a projection, kind of like a shadow, that's being cast by a much more real 4-dimensional object.
The theory uses this really great analogy, the map versus the territory. Think about it. Our entire 3D universe, everything we know, is just the map. But the real territory is this higher 4-dimensional reality. And you know how a flat map always distorts what a globe really looks like? Well, our 3D view is an incomplete, distorted projection. And maybe all those things we can't explain, like dark matter, are just features of the real territory that simply don't make sense on our limited map.
So what is this 4D reality? The paper calls it counterspace, but you can think of it as a block universe. Imagine time is like a loaf of bread. Every single slice is a moment. One is the past, one is the present, one is the future. In this model, the entire loaf, all the slices, already exist at the same time. It's just one big, static, unchanging 4D block.
Okay, so if reality is just some static 4D block, then how do we experience things like the flow of time or the force of gravity? This is where the whole framework gets really, really clever.
You see, our feeling that time is passing is, well, it's an illusion. According to this theory, what we call time is just our consciousness moving through that static 4D block, experiencing one slice of the loaf after another. It's kind of like flipping through a flipbook, right? The drawings on the pages aren't actually moving, but as you flip through them, you create the illusion of motion. That's us, experiencing time.
And what about gravity? Well, in this model, mass plays the role of an anchor. Imagine our universe is a huge, stretched-out rubber sheet. A massive object, like the sun, isn't just sitting on the sheet. It's actually pinching it, pulling it down, and connecting it to that 4th dimension. The tension that this creates in the sheet, the warping of the geometry, that is what we experience as gravity.
So, this is the point where the framework really levels up from just a clever idea to something that starts to look like a potential theory of everything. Let's see how this one concept, this idea of a 4D source casting a 3D shadow, claims to solve all those huge scientific problems we started with.
So, remember dark matter? If gravity is just the geometry of this higher dimension pulling on our 3D reality, then we don't need dark matter at all. The theory makes a bold claim. There are no missing particles. The extra gravity we see holding galaxies together is simply the pull from the 4D source itself. It's the gravitational shadow of a higher reality.
And it doesn't even stop there with gravity.
This model reimagines all four of the fundamental forces of nature as just different kinds of geometric stress. Gravity is the big overall curvature. The weak force is a kind of handedness or a twist in the geometry. The strong force is like the tension on a surface. And electromagnetism is like an elastic stress vibrating through the fabric of our 3D shadow. It's four different forces, all coming from one single geometric origin.
I mean, just look at how elegantly this one idea ties everything together. The dark matter mystery? Solved. It's just the pull from the 4D source. The impossible odds of Darwinian evolution? Solved. Life isn't random. It's just following a pre-existing geometric path in that 4D block. And the mystery of why there's more matter than antimatter? Solved. It's a fundamental twist, a handedness baked into the 4D source from the very beginning. 3 massive crises, 1 beautiful cause.
Okay, so that's all very cosmic and grand, but let's bring this all the way back down to something very personal. Your own mind, your own consciousness.
Remember that neuroscience experiment? This is the number that makes it so completely baffling. Brain scans can detect the activity related to a choice you make up to 10 full seconds before you are consciously aware of making it. I mean, how on earth is that possible?
Well, this framework has a pretty wild explanation. That 10-second lag isn't your brain predicting what you're going to do. It's the time it takes for your conscious awareness to catch up to a decision that already exists as a static, unchangeable part of that 4D block. Your brain isn't writing the script, it's just reading the page that you're currently on.
The author of the source paper puts it like this. Consciousness might not just be a product of our 3D world. It could actually be a kind of antenna, something that's able to access information from other slices of that 4D block. Slices that we would perceive as the past, or even the future.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final, absolutely mind-bending question. If this model of reality is even close to correct, it suggests a universe that isn't random at all, but is geometric, and maybe completely predetermined. It asks us to seriously consider whether every choice you'll ever make, every moment you will ever live, already exists, frozen in time, in a static, four-dimensional reality that we can only ever glimpse one slice at a time.